When it started off as a club way back in 1875, it was a vision of two officers of the Royal Engineers, C.L. Marriott and Weil Young, who had all various sporting activities were all scattered all over Bombay. So here was one club which had sort of amalgamated all these sports. As far as the field sports goes, we are one of the first few to have introduced rugby. Bombay Gymkhana is responsible for the sporting revolution, the sporting ecosystem, the birth of structured sports activities in the city of Bombay.
Hello and a big welcome to all our viewers. We are here to talk about a very special institution in the city of Mumbai which has a very rich history, and it's none other than the Bombay Gymkhana, which is celebrating its 150th year of its inception. And to talk more about the Bombay Gymkhana and its history, we have with us its president of the Bombay Gymkhana, Mr. Sanjiv Saran Mehra. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Sir, I'd just like to start off by asking, the Bombay Gymkhana, it has such a rich history and heritage, of course, and the 150th anniversary now. So what are your thoughts? What would you like to say?
Well, of course, it's an extremely proud moment for not only the members, but I think the city at large and all the sports lovers and sports enthusiasts, because it has a very rich sporting legacy. When it started off as a club way back in 1875, it was a vision of two officers of the Royal Engineers, C.L. Marriott and Weil Young, who instituted this club because they felt that there's a crying need for a club of this kind in Bombay at that point of time, and where all various sporting activities were all scattered all over Bombay. So here was one club which had sort of amalgamated all these sports. So yes, to that extent, Bombay Gymkhana is responsible for the sporting revolution, the sporting ecosystem, the birth of structured sports activities in the city of Bombay.
Right, fantastic. So you also had a logo unveiling ceremony earlier this year, where you had a former India captain, Dilip Vengsarkar, and also one of your oldest members, perhaps your oldest member, Vicaji Taraporevala, who was also there.
That's right.
It must have been such a memorable occasion for you and everyone present. Just tell me a bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. So it was one of the very rare occasions. First of all, the function was exclusively for members and their families, basically. Right. So the idea was that not only the children, but even their parents, their grandparents come, they all have a feeling of a sense of pride of being part of this historic occasion. And it was very important for the current generation, the tiny tots, the 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, to be exposed to this kind of a event and a function, because going forward, they are the ones who are going to carry the baton forward. And an institution which is 150 years old, and today's dynamic age, there can be a lot of distractions, and it can sort of result in things just going downhill. So that tempo has to be maintained, and so that was the reason it was a very successful event, and members definitely got to know much more than they were aware of.
Right. So at the heart of the Bombay Gymkhana, if you see, is sports. Sports is a huge part of what the club is all about, and its history. If you could just, and of course, there is a lot of importance attached to it, to this sporting arena. If you could just tell me a bit about the sporting history of Bombay Gymkhana, if you could summarize that.
Yes, well, if you go down memory lane, we must have had 20 plus sports, and as a club, we've evolved. So there used to be horse riding, there used to be polo, there used to be golf played over there, there used to be equestrian, there used to be sailing, of course, which was held elsewhere. There used to be bowls, there used to be gymnastics, there used to be roller skating, multiple sports. So as is the trend which we witness in clubs, based on what sport is trending and what sport is popular, the clubs adapt to that. But the key highlight was that as far as the field sports goes, we are one of the first few to have introduced rugby in India. Of course, Kolkata and was another city which also has a long history of introduction of rugby there. Then we had a lot of football played, and most importantly, most critically, we are the venue for the first test match played in the history of Indian cricket. So way back in 1933, when Bombay Gym hosted the first ever cricket test match played in India. So yes, it has a long and a very strong history, and which we are extremely proud of. And to that extent, I can say that we are a sports powerhouse. And I can also make a claim that we are one of the world's oldest multi-sports clubs,
Right.
and which is active till date.
Okay.
So yes, we take great pride in that. And of course, we conduct activities which are going on, but certain activities which we are not able to do on a regular basis, but we are keeping the memories alive. Like polo, last year we instituted a polo event after almost 100 years.
Right.
And we repeated it this year. We've also introduced a 10K run because we used to have an athletics challenge way back in 1880s.
Okay.
So of course it's not possible because we don't have an
So
athletics
basically,
track.
you're organizing
Yes.
these events after 1880. You're saying, in a way, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time last year was the first time we did a 10K run.
Right.
So which was all, we used to have an athletics meet in 1888,
Okay.
around that period.
Right.
And over the years, of course, it didn't happen. So it's our way of also showcasing our sporting legacy, letting the current generation know, and basically reaching out to the community at large in the city of Mumbai. And here we are a sports organization. We started as a sports organization, and we continue to be a sports club.
So you mentioned about India's first ever test match in 1933, obviously held at the Bombay Gymkhana, a historic moment for the country, for the club. The great Lala Amarnath scored
Century,
100
that's
in that match, obviously a great occasion. Any memories, any anecdotes, anything that you know of that you could share with us, with our viewers as well?
Well, I wish I
Anything
was
that you've
present.
heard or,
I wish I was present
Yeah.
in 1933, but there's another interesting story pre the test match where I believe it was in 1928 to 29 when the visiting MCC team, like they go on these tours, so they played versus the Hindus.
Okay.
It was like one of those friendly tours matches now. And that's where I believe C.K. Nayudu showed his batting prowess and scored extremely well. It was like, I think 150 plus runs, and word spread pretty fast, far and wide. It's quite surprising because, there were no mobiles that time,
Right.
the landlines, and within no time they had huge crowds turning up over there. And that's when I think ICC and others realized that, look, we think India is now ready for test cricket. So of course I can only imagine and visualize as to how exciting it would have been India versus England, because cricket was popular. Bombay Gym and Azad Maidan were the hub for all these various clubs, and they used to have these quadrangulars with the Hindus, the Parsis, the Christians, Europeans, regular basis had their leagues. So I think it would have been a dream come true for them. And when you speak to Mr. Vicaji Taraporevala, he witnessed that match.
My next question was about him.
He witnessed that match in
But has he shared
1933.
any of his thoughts, memories
Yes,
with you by any chance?
yes, of course he did. He was a kid I think that time,
Right.
8 or 9 years old. So he did have fond memories of that, and which he shared. So which, the excitement and the thrill of being present over there must have been absolutely magical.
Right, right.
First time India's playing a test match.
Right. I've also heard that Rahul Bose used to play rugby for Bombay Gymkhana.
That's
if
right,
I'm not
that's
wrong.
right, that's right, that's right. So Rahul Bose used to play rugby very actively, and he was part of the Indian team as well, and we were like the main base for rugby in India,
Right,
along with CCFC.
right.
Then of course over the years the sport grew bigger and larger, spread its wings.
Right.
So now it's in far more centers and cities than it was earlier. So yes, Rahul played a very important role, and today, of course, he's
With
in
the
the
Rugby
helm
Premier
of
League
affairs
and
of
all of
rugby.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
doing
right.
pretty well.
That's right.
So, what are the other events which are lined up this year? Obviously the 150th anniversary. It's a huge occasion for the Gymkhana. What else is lined up for the rest of the year?
Well, the thing is, the plans which have been discussed internally are to kickstart several kind of events in multiple sports. So we would be conducting in almost all the sports. Either, we believe a lot in the grassroots level, okay, because that's what, that's what gives any sport a fillip.
Correct.
So across the board, we are going to be devising programs other than the inter-school championships which we host. We'll be conducting many of our own junior championships in multiple sports.
Right.
And we'll be open to obviously, doing tie-ups for, district level championships, state championships or national championships. So each section is working on their plan, and of course, like immediately in August is going to be the state squash, Maharashtra state squash, which we've been conducting for 40 plus years now, and so each section is being given a brief.
So any international big ticket international events that you
we are working on that.
Right.
We are in the drawing board stage, and having said that, we are also planning events in a manner where it's not because it's 150 years you're doing it. What happens next? So they've got to be devised in a manner, planned in a manner, structured in a manner that they're here to stay and they're sustainable.
Right. So what are the charitable initiatives that Bombay Gymkhana is undertaking for the occasion? Anything that you can talk about?
Okay, so we, as per our articles in our charter, we cannot really do charity as such,
Right.
okay? But in our own way, for several years now, we've been supporting the cause of Olympic Gold Quest,
Right.
okay? And other than that, we host under our initiative called BG Cares.
Okay.
We host a lot of sports events and activities for underprivileged organizations, NGOs, and differently abled
Okay.
children as well. So that's our way of contributing. And of course, we are always open to hosting various inter-school championships, which the MSSA and the DSO
Right.
conducts, and all the state bodies or the district bodies. So we are always open to hosting such events which promote sports and which also give the participants an opportunity to play on our facilities.
Right. So if you could just talk a bit about the Olympic Gold Quest support that you mentioned about. I mean, how does that work, or since when have you been associated?
Well, it's been for the last 3-4 years.
Right.
So it's basically financial support which we give them,
Okay.
and yes, it's a small way which we are supporting them, but
Right.
our thoughts and appreciation is always there for any body which is playing a role in developing sports persons in country,
Right.
in India.
So Bombay Gymkhana, the building, if you see, it's a Swiss chalet style architecture. It's a beautiful building. It's a heritage structure as well. I mean,
Great to heritage structure.
yeah. So I mean, what do you feel about? I mean, is there anything that you're working on in terms of the future?
Well, the thing is, we keep on doing our regular maintenance and whatever modernization we can do, upgradation of our facilities within the rules and laws of the Heritage Committee, BMC, etc. So,
Right.
but we keep on upgrading all our facilities every now and then.
Right. So some of, you mentioned about Rahul Bose, but apart from Rahul Bose, I mean, who are the prominent Bombay Gymkhana members who've been doing well in public life, be it films or sports or any other?
Look, so
field of
you
life? If
start
could-
off with sports.
Okay.
Okay, so there's Dilip Vengsarkar, there's Sunil Gavaskar, there's Ravi Shastri, there's Yajvendra Singh Bilkha, Sunny, Jayanti Lal, and M.M. Somaiya,
Right.
Adil Sumariwala, for example,
Okay.
who's been in the
The AFI,
international
yes.
Athletics
Federation.
Federation, Rahul Bose, who not only excelled as a player but now is at the helm of affairs of promoting.
Promoting the rugby.
Well, so we have many members who are playing. Kishan Darsi, for example, has had a very illustrious career in boxing administration
Right,
globally
right.
and in India as well. So there are several who have sort of, from the sports field. When you talk about the corporate world, some of the prominent names that come are Mr. R. Gopalakrishnan, for example, who was vice chairman of Unilever, and he was ED of Tata Sons and played a very important role. So there are several executives who, had a balance between, playing as well as corporate life. We have also we've got people like Bharat Rao, Dilip Choksi, who played a stellar role in various accountancy firms, and they also played. Mr. Vijay Rai, for example, the MD of Rallies, used to play football.
Right.
So we've had several of them who use this as a great, work-life balance, where they've excelled in the corporate world, or it was Anil Dharakar, a journalist who was a very passionate tennis player.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't know that.
Cyrus Brocha
he's
is,
a member.
is a regular person who regularly works out, in the gymnasium. We have a leading lawyer like an Abad Ponda,
Okay.
who so it's a great place for them to. They all come and utilize the facilities,
Right.
and not only come and play but work out as well. So, so irrespective of which walk of life you're from, Bombay Gym is the place to really come and work out and exercise.
Right. So one final question. As the president, looking ahead, what are your future plans for the Gymkhana, and is there anything big or novel that you're working on? Any initiatives, anything that you're contemplating at this point of time? Is there anything you would like to share?
Well,
going
it's
forward?
it's basically sports, because
Right.
we're a sports club.
Right.
So how do we adapt to the future, and how do we keep on reaching out to the community at large?
Right.
Because it's not all about ourselves. I think being the first club, sports club in the city of Mumbai, I think we owe it to the city of Mumbai to not only promote sports amongst our members but also for the community at large. And that can only be achieved by organizing more and more competitions where a lot of outsiders participate. So that's our way of giving back. So we're not a club which is closed and by itself, by the members, for its members.
Right.
We also have an outreach
Right.
program and plans to do that. So going into the future, I see it becoming a busier place
Right.
vis-a-vis sporting activities. We've also recently added paddle,
Oh, great.
and
Pickleball?
pickleball is part of our plans.
Okay.
Other facilities also part of our plans, like table tennis and regular dedicated spaces for those. And we also recently added mahjong.
Okay.
So in our club we've got three, in a club like ours, which is a sports club and a recreation club as well, there has to be something in it for everybody.
Right.
So there are three distinct segments which are there. So one, of course, is those who come for sports, those who come for your entertainment and
Correct.
your F&B, and the third segment which comes for talk shows, movies, workshops.
Right.
So in this way we have a 360-degree approach where we are able to reach out to every member, male, female, child, youngster, senior member. So that's what makes the club, and we are extremely proud of such a heritage which we kept going. And what differentiates Bombay Gymkhana from other clubs is that all our traditions continue till date.
Right.
Despite all the dynamic changes in the rapidly fast growing world, we've managed maintaining our traditions and our values.
Right. So thank you so much once again for your time, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you to all our viewers once again for joining us, and keep tuning in to the Free Press Journal. Thank you.